Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iPhone 12 Pro Max has been my main phone for the past year or so, and many people have been asking me, what am I using on my iPhone regularly? Every year I usually do a few of these videos, and this year I really haven't done many of them. So this is the pre-iPhone 13 What's on My iPhone video. And so the first thing is I thought I'd go over my settings. I haven't really covered that in previous videos, and a lot of people want to know exactly what's on my settings. So if we go into settings, recently, if you've been following my follow-up videos and any issues I've had, which I typically release on Sunday, I've talked about the overall experience being kind of buggy. I do run a lot of betas, and so I reset my settings under General. Then if you go down to Transfer or Reset iPhone, tap on Reset and reset all settings. This will actually wipe all of your settings, but not remove anything from the phone. So none of the apps were removed, anything within the apps, the accounts and things like that, but it resets everything from your Wi-Fi to all of your settings being set up. So I had to go back through and set a lot of those up. Now, during these videos, I generally have Do Not Disturb turned on, so notifications aren't popping in and things like that. So that's typically only when filming the video. Then I use different focus modes. I'll talk more about that in a moment, but as far as overall settings, I don't change a whole lot of things. I do modify my notifications depending on the specific app. So YouTube Studio, for example, I have certain ones since I don't need a ton of them popping in as people are making comments throughout the day. And for things like Instagram and more, I tend to have those on scheduled instead of immediate delivery, because if I post something to Instagram, generally you'll get quite a few of them popping up from time to time. So they may interrupt filming videos like this, but most of these I leave alone. And then as far as any other settings, under General, background app refresh is just turned off. I used to leave it on for certain apps. I just turned it off in general now. And the reason is I didn't want to customize it one by one. Now, it can be helpful for certain apps. So if I turn it on for Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi and cellular, it's nice to have it refresh certain apps, but there's no way to turn them all off quickly and then just turn on the ones you want. So I just turned it all off, made it a little bit easier. And as far as customization throughout the OS, that's it. Sometimes I change the font size, but I have that control in the control center, so I can just change the font size here. And with iOS 15's most recent few betas, you can change that from settings only to all apps. So you can change it per app. So I do that a little bit depending on the app. Maybe if the text is a little bit small, I might make it a little bit larger in certain apps or smaller in others. So as far as settings, that's everything. I don't touch anything more to affect battery life or anything else. I try to use it as stock as possible, so when I'm doing videos about reviews and things, I give you the most accurate overview as possible. Now, as far as what's actually on my iPhone, well, you've probably seen this sort of home screen set up a million times at this point if you watch a lot of my videos, and you'll see it. Many of them are stock apps from the stock Maps app, but I don't really use Maps too much. I do go between that and Google Maps, and then I just have Home, Notes, Reminders, Settings, Church, with a couple different things in there, as well as social networking. So I have Telegram and Discord, and I also have Telegram and Discord servers. So if you're not on those, you can check those out. I'll link those in the description. But Gmail, I keep Gmail separately from my normal mail. Just it's easier to manage that way with YouTube. So YouTube and YouTube Studio, so watching videos and then managing videos for the channel, things like this. And then my Tesla app. This is not here for some sort of flex. People say that from time to time. It's actually my car. I'm a huge car enthusiast. I like all cars, and it's here for that. So let me go into that. And so here's my car within the app. I'm just covering the location of it, but you can see it's charged to 79%. You've got different controls and things, and it's showing security, and this is their latest update for this. So I have the car. You can fully manage it here. So if I want to change the climate, I can do that, go into climate, and now you can modify the climate inside, turn it on or off, vent the windows, turn the heated seats on, things like that. So this is actually a functional app for me, and it also acts as the key. With this app on the phone, it's the key to my car. You walk up to the car, push on the door handle, it unlocks. It's just the way it works, and so I use that. I do use weather all of the time too. I check that probably way too often, but sometimes when I film outside, I do check it often to see if it's supposed to rain or anything like that. So that's there. Also, again, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Google, and Overcast. And the bottom of my phone has been the same pretty much since the first iPhone. I tend to leave these apps alone in this order. They're just habit at this point. Messages here, Safari, music, or Safari Mail than music. Some people ask, why is phone at the top? I rarely take phone calls. I try not to take phone calls. I worked in call centers for years, and I don't really like to take phone calls unless I have to, so it's sort of at the top, and if I take them, maybe 1 or 2 a week at most. So I'm not opposed to taking them, I just tend to avoid them overall. Now on the second page, if we go to the second page, this is where I sort of just dump everything as far as apps. You'll see I only have 2 pages. I generally leave it set up so I have a main page and then everything else. However, I have messed around with focus modes that change this based on my location and time of week. So I'll show you that in a moment. But in entertainment, I haven't messed with too many of these, but things like WB Movies, Amazon Prime, some of them I could probably delete. You'll see Atom movies there since I haven't been to a theater in forever. Movies, Xbox, I use that from time to time. Photos and videos, same thing. I don't really go into these too often, but sometimes I do. But they're just there in case I need them. LifeX to control my lights. I use LifeX lights for a lot of my backgrounds and things. So these are my office LED lights, and those turn on and off. And then I have some other things for home as well, but that's what I typically use for lights. I've got some things for food, which I don't use too often, but they're there if I need them. And then also finance, which some of those things I should probably delete, but just banking apps. Audio, SoundCloud and Audible. Audible for audio books and things, although I don't use it very often. I do like SoundCloud and should probably put that on the main page as I use it a lot. Then utilities, again, these are things that are in the background in case I need them. So from my carrier's website or app to Decibel X that actually measures decibels in the room to different things I've used throughout the year. So the Apple Store, some of them I need to uninstall. So I really don't look at this too often, and I really should probably take some time and clean it up. But I wanted to show you exactly how I use my phone as I get busy and I don't think about it, but they're here. Then I also have social, again, a few extra things which I could probably put in a different folder, and I don't use many of them, but I have them just in case. And then also Everlance. I don't use it too much, but it does track mileage. If you want to drive to someplace for your job, it tracks how far it is, where you went, and then you can categorize that later. Extras is mostly Apple extra apps. So mostly Apple things you can see like the compass and shortcuts. Then I have the Apple Event Timer and Surfshark VPN, although I don't use it too much. I've been trying Private Relay, although they're sort of different. 1Password, and then charging. You saw that I have a Tesla, so some of these things help determine where chargers are. I probably use PlugShare the most to determine if a charger is available that's not a Tesla charger, although it's not needed too often, but they're there just in case mostly. I have a news folder where I have Heartfeed, which I used to use a lot. It's an RSS reader, and then Pocket. I tend to use Google News the most and Apple News. So those things, or really, I just use the Google app to give me my customized feed, and that's about it. Zillow is looking for homes. I don't use it too much, but it's there. The developer app from Apple, and then a couple extra YouTube things, YouTube Music and FaceTime, stock trading things I don't really look at. I just kind of look at things from time to time. The calendar, which I don't tend to use a calendar. A lot of people ask me, how do you not use a calendar? I tend to use reminders. I don't use calendar at all. I put everything in reminders. And then TV and weather. Weather is here so I could show the new icon when it changed with iOS 15 beta 6. So that's there. I tend to leave everything in the app library to sort of categorize itself, since most of the apps I use regularly are on my main screen, and then if I need something, I just go to the app library and find it, or use Spotlight Search to find it. I have gotten used to doing that not only on the Mac for years, but using Spotlight Search to search kind of everything here. So I use that the most. Now, I did say that I use focus modes, and if I go to focus modes, here's work. If I arrive where I work normally, where I'm filming, it'll actually switch to this mode. Now, this doesn't stop notifications though, but you'll see home screens have changed. Now there's a bunch of other ones, and I'll probably do a video on how to customize these. But again, there's a few more here. Now, as I change throughout the day, maybe the weekend shuts off most apps. Again, I have things like home, evening, and driving, and those sorts of focus modes. I really like the whole focus mode thing, and I'll probably make a video about that in the future. So that's everything on my iPhone. My iPad is set up very similarly. I thought I'd just share that quickly. So on the iPad, you'll see that it's basically very simple. I use this mostly for media consumption. I do some notes on it. I use the Notes app all of the time for everything I do on YouTube. So notes on my iPhone and iPad when I'm filming outside or recording outside, I'm using the Notes app on my iPad. So I make bullet points. I never script videos. So unlike some people do scripting, some people do notes, some people don't do any of those things. I try to be as natural as possible and never script a video. I have nothing wrong with that, but it's just something that I personally don't do. And then you've got all of the simple apps here. In the app library, I use that a little bit, but I don't have a lot of apps on here. So you'll see they're just basic apps from Apple, and I use YouTube the most. So it's in the menu bar down here at the bottom, or the dock. I use YouTube the most on this device, and Safari and email. So the basic apps work for me here. Maybe if Apple brings Final Cut Pro or anything else with maybe some new Pro apps with the following Apple events that are coming very soon. Hopefully we'll see something like that, and we'll have some more uses for iPad, but that's generally what I use it for. I use this 99% of the time when I am not doing videos and editing on a computer. I tend to use this more than any other device I have. So that's everything on my iPhone. It hasn't changed a whole lot, but I wanted to share what I have here. I tend to use just the basics of what I need from day to day to sort of focus on making content rather than going into a million different apps. So that's kind of the thought behind that with podcasts and more. If there's any apps you would suggest, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.